Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. So I want to get right to the message, right? So when we log on to social media and different platforms, immediately, you hear more stories about rags to riches. You hear more stories about, uh, the struggle that people went through. And then on the opposite end, you hear about how they are millionaires now. Rarely, right? And I'm not going to say never, but rarely do you hear people come and talk about that middle space. What happens between you were broke or you were broken and then you are walking fully in your calling and you're a millionaire? And it's not, I'm not saying, don't get me twisted. I'm not saying that walking in your calling is going to get you to be a millionaire, right? But I'm just saying there are two places that people often talk about, and it's the before and it's the after, but never the in between. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. And I want to try to keep it brief, right? But I want to make sure that I get the message out because I'm a person. I like reality. I don't want to be sold a dream. I don't like um not having practicality, right? How do I get there? And it's not to say that I'm looking for people to plan out my journey, not at all, right? But what I'm saying is that there's not a conversation that happens too often where people talk about that space that happens in between, from survival mode, right, to living and thriving and walking fully in your calling. What happens in the middle? Right? And a lot of people don't like to talk about that. I don't know if it's not the popular thing, or I don't know if it's that, hey, they so glad they finally made it on the other side that they didn't forgot about the middle. But the middle is a very realistic place that needs to be talked about, because there are people, I'm sure, who are in that space. That space is, it feels uncertain at times. It can sometimes be confusing. And let me tell you why. Because a lot of times that middle space is quiet. A lot of times, and if y'all hear, that's my baby. Snow day. A lot of times that middle space is so quiet. And it's like, it becomes concerning initially for a lot of people, because you're like, I know I'm not, you're able to recognize I'm not where I was though. Right? It doesn't mean that you're without flaw. It doesn't mean that everything has drastically changed. But things, as far as you can recognize, like, I'm not in survival mode anymore. I'm thinking differently. My faith is different, right? I'm not as feisty as I was. I don't entertain the foolishness the way that I used to. I'm not trying to have my side of the story heard. I don't care to have the last word with a fool, entertain a clown in a circus. Like, there are different things that begin to occur in this middle space. But it's quiet. It's the peace that you weren't used to having. Right? When you are used to existing in chaos, that peace can get like, whoa, whoa, what's wrong? Especially when you've come out of survival mode. That peace can be so disturbing to your nervous that you'll be like, well, mm-mm. And if you were used to being in survival mode initially, and this is just the reality, sometimes you'll find yourself like looking for, okay, I know something gonna happen, because it always does. And when it doesn't, that is where the revelation comes. I am in a whole new space. And when you look in your bank account, maybe you like, well, I ain't where I'm going. Okay. Things, could look the same in certain aspects, right? You don't have the millions yet, but you have a calmness, you have a peace, you have a knowing. Even if your bank account says zero, even if it's in the negative, you have a knowing that this ain't where I'm gonna always be. And so instead of panicking, you get busy on manifesting. Or instead of panicking, you just have this faith and know that, you know what, yeah, the bill collectors is calling. I'm going to do what I can, and that's all I can do. But I'm not going to let it stress me. There is such a peace in the middle space. There is such a calmness, right? But then on the other end, it's like, okay, but all right, I'm here. It's like being dropped off at a hospital or something. And you've done the travel, you've arrived, and you're waiting for your name to be called. Okay? Stay with me. That's the first analogy I can think of. And so you're waiting for your name to be called. You know, though, that your name is going to be called. You're certain of that because you drove there. You traveled there. You signed in. Okay? They're expecting you and you're expecting your name to be called. And so that's what that middle space is. It's the waiting room. The only difference is sometimes, you know, it can be a period of rest for a lot of people, especially considering what you may have come out of. It may have been physically, maybe even spiritually or mentally, emotionally taxing and exhausting. And so now, even though you're in this calm space, spirit, the divine, whomever you refer to it is allowing you to have this rest, right? Because see, where you headed, you're going to need the things that prepared you, the things that you went through that shaped your character and built the resistance and toughened and thickened that skin. You may need that where you're going. But see, the difference is now because you have gone through the fire. Where you're headed, whatever your mission is, whatever your purpose is, you are going to be able to use those things those skills, the wisdom that you gained from those lessons before. You're going to be able to use those later down the road. So in the middle space again, I feel like people don't really talk about it enough. You know, they want you to, when they get on here, they want to talk about their millions. They want to, it's like, I've arrived. Hey, boom, and you can too. Well, baby, did you, what about the period of time you may have had to sit down? Now, some people may have this miraculous story where they went rags to riches with nothing in between. I don't know. But for me, I can only speak to who resonates with this message. I can only speak to what I experienced. There's a space that is quiet. And it looks like nothing is happening. And that is the space where, and what began to keep me in that middle space and keep me from panicking is be still and know. And that's a message that I received from spirit. And I continue to get that confirmation from, like, I would be watching YouTube and then a message would come through and it would, you know, it would be different things. You know, spirit uses different vessels to give you the confirmation that you need. Right? And then let me show y'all something. My mentor, not really knowing what I was going through, because in this middle space, I was quiet. Okay, the middle space was quiet and I was quiet because it calls for a lot of reflection, right? A lot of gratitude, okay? And a lot of faith. Reflection, gratitude that you're no longer where you were, reflecting over the lessons, reflecting over the heartbreaks, the struggles. And it doesn't mean that you wallowing in it, but you're reflecting over what you went through so that you can shed. The middle space is also a shedding space. Let's let go. Let's leave the things that happen. Leave them where they at. We're done with that. We're going somewhere else. And we need our load to be light, right? So we can take flight into where the Most High is taking us. And so with that said, like I said, I wasn't talking. I wasn't really telling people much about where I was at. I was just in the stillness. And my mentor happened to give me a gift one day. We did like a painting with a twist, little shindig where me and like some of my spiritual sisters and my mentor, we went to paint with a twist, and she's always giving gifts. I look at my bag amongst the other gifts. Look, be still and know. Be still and know. And this is what I'm saying. During this time, during the journey, spirit will keep you if you pay attention, if you're open to it. And so I want to encourage somebody, because I came with this message because I recognized that I didn't hear enough about this. And you know, you feel lost at times in the middle space. You feel like, am I doing something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did I miss the plane? Did I miss my flight? Right? Because you're like, I know that I'm not where I was at. And I know for certain, after you go through so much, you get to standing in position. ready to step into your calling. You get to, I'm about to be this millionaire I know I'm meant to be. I'm about to be, I'm going to experience healthy love like I know I'm meant to experience, because it doesn't have to always be, you may, your career, you may be in purpose and in calling. But there may be some other things that you've been preparing for. You may have been preparing to have healthy love because all you've had is toxic. You may have been preparing to become a wife, to become a husband. And so even still, no matter what it is that you're waiting for, no matter what it is that you're stepping into, right? You're in this middle space, and this is the becoming period. Okay? I don't know. I'm a foodie. It's like you prepare this food and you go through all the things, you know, chopping up the ingredients, adding the herbs and spices. You put it in the pan. You sit it in the oven. Hey, I'm in the kitchen. Work with me. You sit it in the oven, and you close that oven door. And you're going to wait for it to get done so that it's ready, right, for that end product. I don't know, right? Whoever this message resonates with, you're going to get it, all right? These analogies may not be the best, but I'm delivering it however I can, right? I'm thinking on the fly. I don't like to be scripted. I don't like to, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just like to come authentically and just give you what I got, okay? But nevertheless, I just wanted to come and encourage somebody to not become discouraged. You may be in this space that is quiet, it feels uncertain, but understand that the fact that you can recognize that you're not where you were, and the fact that you know the Most High gave you the vision. If you got the vision, that means that what I've learned, if you can visualize it, if you can see it clearly, it's meant for you. It's a reason that you have this vision, because it's attainable. And so, because you're in this middle space, that means you're more than halfway there. Don't throw in the towel. Don't become discouraged. And I'm going to be honest, because that's what this page is all about. I don't post much, but I'm working on it. But I recognize that people need the honest journey. People need the reality. If you're like me, I don't want to see the fluff. I don't want to see the beautiful ending, baby. Let me see the process. Let me know that you're human. Let me know that you really went through this thing and you were determined, and then you finally came out. But don't tell me you used to I don't want you to just simply write, I went from 0 to 1 billion. Okay, that's cool. Okay. But what about the times where you were not sure? And that's what this message was about. I just hope that if you found yourself in this space, and if you were getting to a point of being discouraged, or if you were starting to feel defeated, if you felt like you might have missed something along the line, if you feel like it's quiet, you feel like, okay, did the divine forget about me? You may need, this time may be served as a time of rest before you take off, because you're going to need the energy to do all the things that you were destined to do, right? There also may be some other things that you need to shed, some layers that you need to leave behind, because sometimes you can get in this middle space and still, even though you've done the healing work, there may be some things that you just simply need to, all right, get that off of me. Okay? Get the residue and leave it behind, so that you can step fully into who you were destined to be. But I want to just assure you that this is a very realistic space to be in. And there's nothing wrong with you. You haven't done anything wrong. The divine has not forgotten about you. All right? So take this time to rest, to prepare. Use this time to just have gratitude that you are indeed on your way. And I'm able to stand here and tell you this, not yet, where I'm going. I'm in the middle space myself. And so I felt like Spirit nudged me and made it clear that other people need to hear that from a realistic standpoint. I'm not coming to you from a place of I've arrived. I'm coming to you from a place of stillness, a place of gratitude, a place of reflection, and a place of pure faith, knowing that my destiny, I'm on my way. All right. Y'all have a great day. This boy and his cartoons. Gotta go. Bye.